We all love burgers. Sometimes small, sometimes big, sometimes homemade, sometimes made outside, sometimes with a mushroom, sometimes with meat. But we all do love burgers. Today, me and my team wanted to show you all the tips for making great burgers. What makes a burger a little tastier than the other one? If it's an ordinary burger that we're gonna make at home, what are the small tips that we can use to make it great? If you're ready, we can start. To make a burger great, there are two very important players. One is meat, the other is bread. Of course, we're gonna start with the most important one, the meat. We can divide the meat of the burger in two ways. The first one is the one with the big meat, like this one, that we have ordered, 200-250 grams of meat, or smashed burgers, thin burgers that are ready-made, like this. These are usually thinner. If you want to make a burger with a lot of meat, you use 2 or 3 of them together, whereas in this one, there's one big meat, and when you slice it in half, it's going to be juicy and the juice should pour from here. The large pub-style burgers with big and thick meat, where the star is the meat itself, its taste will be legendary only with a good bread. The second is the thin smashed burgers. They are a combination of sauces, side ingredients such as tomatoes and onions, lettuce, and of course the meat. For example, this is a Whopper, a junior one probably, because of the economical crisis every day is getting smaller. Or when you look at the Big Mac, the great sauce and the lettuce, when you remember the taste is that you actually remember is not the meat, it's the combination of all those ingredients. Whereas in a pub style, we call that in Turkey gourmet burger, it's the meat and it's the bread that goes along with it, and the rest is the extra. If you say which one is better, I believe each of them have their own place. At home, you can make a really gourmet Whopper. Actually, I have one recipe, Texas Smokehouse, I think on the channel, the link is here. It's quite easy to make and tastes amazing. These both have their own place. If you don't want to eat a lot of meat but want to have a burger, the smashed ones are a savior. When we look at the burger meat, unfortunately, when it dries up, it becomes chewy, hard, and not so pleasant to eat. This looks like a meatball, but the actual meatballs that we make in Turkey, that we have a lot on this channel, is quite different. What is the difference? We put onions. Onion is acid. We knead them a lot, which makes it more chewy. Sometimes they put yogurt or vinegar. That gets in the meat and it distributes it, even though when you cook it and let it rest, or the next day, when you eat that meatball, it still tastes great. When we were little, our mothers put meatballs between the bread and said, "Honey, I made you a hamburger." And we all said, "Mom, it's not a burger." But they were still delicious. Do you have such a memory? Please write below. The burger meat, when it dries up, it becomes almost tasteless, unfortunately. So that's the biggest difference. When we look at a good fresh burger, a good burger patty is just a combination of meat and fat. So the fat ratio of burger patties must be 25 to 30%. It brings taste and juiciness to burger patties. Some gourmet places say, we make burgers from entrecote. Okay, entrecote is a great meat, but the fat percentage is not so great, and it's a loss of great meat. The best place to get the meat is around the ribs, which is not like a big chunk of meat, but the fat and the meat content is great. It must be a male animal. It should be from a place that does not move, that is close to the bone. Also has to be a meat that contains fat. The meat that meets all 4 elements is the brisket. And also, meat for the burger should be single ground minced meat. So go to the butcher and say, I want 30% fatty and single ground minced meat. It's a very delicious meat with large grains and juicy texture. However, the minced meat we use in this classic meatballs is double ground. Its grains are smaller, juiciness decreases, and it becomes easier for it to stay together. To a burger patty, usually people don't add anything. Some people say, oh, we shouldn't even add salt. The salt should be just outside. In, for example, Shake Shack burger, they take the patty and put it in their hands just a little, put salt on the cast iron, and then put the patty and press and smash it so that the sides become crunchy and wrinkly, and inside still very soft. But I believe a bit of increasing taste, because we cannot always find great meat for a great burger. I have a perfect combination that goes really, really well. For that, 500 grams of single shot ground beef, 1 tablespoon of molasses, 1 tablespoon of white grape vinegar, 1 tablespoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of breadcrumbs, 1 egg, teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, and that's a great combination. Mix it with a little not kneading, just mixing, and let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes. And then your burger patties are going to be juicy and great. This is actually, Worcestershire sauce and different sauces that are included in burger patties. This is without any additives, a combination that I've created and used for over a decade. When cooking, put the burger patty, don't touch it until one side turns brown, otherwise it might stick to the pan and you lose a lot of water. Then we turn the heat down a bit and cook the patty so that inside also cooks as much as we like. The pan is really important as well. It should be an easy heated up and easy getting cold pan like copper or enamelware. The cast iron is the best for this. It's also like a barbecue. Gives that taste. If you don't have a cast iron pan, you can also use a thick bottom steel pan. Another important point is the shape of the spatula. A curved spatula will fit under the meatballs well and will make your job easier. If you like my spatula, guys, if you give interesting tips that you use on your burgers at down, the team is going to decide one of the person is gonna win my burger spatula. So give your comments. If you want to make a very delicious burger with flowing cheese, put a slice of cheese after turning the burger patty, close the lid so the patty will be juicy and cheese will melt eventually. Let's move to talking about thin burger patties. If you are going to make thin patties yourself at home, and if you ask me, I will make these and freeze them and use them occasionally. I recommend you to make the recipe I just explained for the thick patties, because even it freezes, it doesn't lose any taste. Or if you have your ground meat and don't want to work hard, if you're going to cook and eat immediately, you can only put a bit of salt and black pepper and mix it for 15 seconds and get on cooking. When the cast iron pan is heated well, put the meatballs, press them with a spatula and cook both sides. Even the shapeless edges will add flavor and texture to your burger. Now, let's talk about the burger buns and consider them one by one. For big burgers, you can choose a brioche style bread with some sesame seeds, egg wash, sugar and oil. But standard buns with less fat, less sugar and sesame seeds are good with thin burgers. These two breads are generally preferred, and I would like to offer you important alternatives. 1. If your burger patty is very delicious, the ordinary, plain, without sugar, without egg wash bread would also be good. For that, make an ordinary white bread dough and bake it in the oven or your air fryer. In Turkey, we have something called açma, something that you should definitely eat. It's like a brioche but leafy one. You can also make a burger inside the açma. And Bahar says they sell it in Simit Sarayı. You can go and buy it from there. Another good idea is to toast the bread. It enhances the taste of the burger. I also recommend that after assembling the burger, press the top to allow some of the juices transfer to the bread. So let's talk about the side ingredients. These are cheese, deli meats, sauces, vegetables such as pickle, lettuces and tomatoes. Of course, all real cheddar cheese comes first. Because of extreme cost of meat and the dairy products, burger cheese will also satisfy you. Also, cheese with a bit of truffle or blue cheese have become very popular. I discovered an easy way to make this at home very cheaply. Add a bit of truffle oil to some cream cheese and it's going to be gorgeous. Or you can use a bit of Roquefort cheese with a bit of kefir. It will increase the flavor tremendously with using a little bit of cheese. As for the deli meats, not only meat is good for every burger. High fat pastrami, cured meats, bacon will go. I always like to fry them a bit and make them crispy. For an amazing burger, put the bacon in the pan, evaporate the water inside the meat a little, then put the meatballs. The meatballs will also get the taste of the bacon. It's better to spread sauces on bread rather than on meat. One of the sauce is the bottom bread and the other one will go to the top. For example, if you want to make a Big Mac sauce inside the burger, you can find the recipe in the description. You won't believe how close the taste gets without adding any big additives. For those who love a ranch sauce, our recipe is also in the description. It goes very well with our burgers. When we come to the veggies, one of the most popular is the lettuce. Two kinds of lettuces, iceberg or plain lettuce. If I use the iceberg, finely chopped lettuce comes as a leaf. And of course the pickles, they can be finely chopped, they can be as a whole, all good. One of the most important ingredients of Big Mac is also the coppery inside. If you're going to put tomatoes, it's important to put some salt in them. If you're going to use onions, I always prefer to ease the taste a bit. So put some salt and rub them. I love using all kinds of onions in the burger. Raw good, caramelized is great. Crispy onion rings are great. Crispy dried fried onions are incredible. They will all go great. After hearing all this, let's make my perfect burger. 500 single shot ground beef, 1 tablespoon of molasses, 1 tablespoon white grape vinegar, 1 tablespoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of breadcrumbs, 1 egg, teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Mix the patty ingredients in a bowl, knead them until the flavors blend, but don't knead too much. Heat the cast iron pan, sprinkle some water to see if it's heated enough. If it evaporates without bouncing, it means it's ready. Shape the patties, place them in the heated pan. Always make the meatballs a little wider than the bread because they will always shrink. Meanwhile, chop the red onion in approximately 1 cm thick rings. Add them in the pan. Turn the hamburger patties, cut the buns in half, put them in the pan and heat them too. Put the cheese on top. When you remove the heated bread from the pan, spread mustard on the bottom, barbecue sauce if you like. You can also spread whatever you like, such as garlic mayonnaise. Close the lid, place the melted cheese and burger patties on the bread, add the caramelized onions on top and cut your burger in half. Press the inner surface of the hamburger in the pan and fry a little. Thus the Maillard reaction will occur and the flavor of the meat will increase eventually. This is my burger recipe that I love to make with thick patties. What about the thin ones? There's a recipe with Burger King's most loved burger Whopper. Add a pinch of salt and black pepper to the mincemeat. Give it a little mix. Grill the rolled patties on the cast iron pan by smashing with a spatula. Flip the patties and toast the inner sides of the buns. Place the bottom bun to the counter. Spread some mayonnaise, put a patty, a slice of tomato with a bit of salt, some onion chips, gherkin slices, and a lettuce leaf. Then spread the mayonnaise on the other half of the bun and close the burger. We worked so hard for this video. I hope you watched it until here. If you like the video, you know what to do. Press like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and the most important, don't forget to share it with your loved ones. I love you.